Hello and welcome to my developer log series. Um, to start out with, I didn't really make videos on anything before this, just because you never know if a project's actually going to do anything. Um, so yeah, we're a little ways into the project at this point. So to give a little bit of background, my name is Mike. I'm a beginner developer. This is the first game I've actually put in any real effort into and plan to take anywhere. I do have quite a background in programming, mainly Java. I've written quite a few Java applications, did a little bit of database management. I've written a lot of plugins for Minecraft, including Spigot, Forge, Fabric. Um, I got a little bit of knowledge in C++, not a lot, and some knowledge in Python, mainly for Discord bots. So yeah, this video is not going to be edited or anything. I'm just going to kind of talk for a little bit. So starting out, I have a player, just a basic Mix-a-Mo model with some rigging on it. This is a gun that a fellow developer, blueseph, made for me in Blockbench. I got some hand models that I found on the internet for a first person. And that's about it. A lot of this is bog standard kind of boilerplate code and boilerplate assets that any real game would have. So scripting, player script. Again, this is just boilerplate. You're gonna see a lot of multiplayer code in here, just because I planned on this game being multiplayer, then realized that I was opening a can of worms that I probably shouldn't. So here we are. I'm leaving this just in case in the future, if I do want to do something with multiplayer, I have it here. So something I want to mention on my player character is you'll notice a lot of these constant variables are different. Like I have ground acceleration, air acceleration, ground friction. You're not going to see that in a lot of Godot projects. That is because this is for a source style character controller, which what mine is. Source style meaning games like Quake, Counter-Strike, Half-Life, etc. So I guess I'll kind of go through this code just real quick here. I'm checking, depending on which camera you're in, if you're in first person or third person, I'm modifying your camera so that you still have full control over the character. Just some inputs for shooting, quitting, debug HUD, changing the camera. This is just your physics process. This is called every frame. So we're checking for things like button inputs, directions. If they're on the floor, we're playing different animations. We're checking for shooting, checking for walk animation. We're printing locations for the debug HUD. And then we have an accelerate function, and this is the source style controller. This takes in a direction, a delta, an accelerate, and a max velocity. And this just gives you that kind of ground friction slidey style of source controller. And then I have a play shoot effects. This is just handling all of my actual shooting animations. Ignore the RPC call, that's for multiplayer. And then I'm checking to make sure you're in first person cam before I actually fire the bullets. Because you can't shoot in third person because I'm not dealing with that shit. So, next thing I guess we'll go into is my zombie. So it's pretty bog standard character 3D. I've got some navigation stuff for some AI that I was playing with. I made sure that it can move. We have a take damage function and then an engage timer for the AI. Pretty simple. The actual zombie is just a capsule at this point. I don't actually have a model for it yet. So yeah, next thing I guess I can go into is the bullet. It's pretty simple. It's a rigid body with a mesh instance, a particle, and a collision shape with a timer. The script for that is pretty simple. I'm just making sure that I have a linear velocity and it's firing in the right direction. And then I'm checking for when it enters a body. If the body is marked as zombie health, it takes damage, otherwise nothing happens. And then this is just to make sure when the timer times out, this is to delete the bullet so we don't have 50 blue million fucking bullets in the world. So yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. So if we go into our world, we'll actually minimize this. We'll minimize this. We'll go into our world. A couple just little simple things here. I'm preloading a zombie, getting a reference to my player, and then I'm spawning my zombie. It's pretty simple. This is what the world looks like so far. So I have a ground texture. I have a really nice skybox texture, which I'll show you once we actually launch the game. And then you can see I have some developer assets like a light and a camera and stuff. So let's go into what I worked on today. So starting out with, this is my grass. So I'm calling these patches. I'm sure if you've been in any sort of game development, you've probably heard them referred to as tiles. Basically, you make one thing and then you populate a scene with it. So you don't have to, you're not limited on size, right? Like you don't have to make 40 different assets because they're 4 different sizes. Pretty simple. It's a mesh that I actually have hidden. And then that is just so that the multi-mesh knows where it can populate. I have a model that I can pull up here real quick for you. This is just something I made in Blender in 5 minutes. Just a couple pieces of grass, and then I let the shader handle everything else. So speaking of shaders, this is the first time I've ever used visual shading. So I have 2 different shaders here. I have a fragment shader, which handles all of my coloring. And then I have a vertex shader, which handles all of my movement. Pretty simple. I had to Google some of this. I really wasn't sure how to do this in visual shading, but it's a learning curve, but it's kind of nice. I do like it. So yeah, that's my grass. It's kind of wavy and it's cartoonish because I like that style. So next thing that we're going to look at here is my water. So again, you're going to notice it's kind of cartoonish. That's because that's what I want in my game. It's going to be kind of a low poly style game. This is a more bog standard style of shader though. So this shader is, here we go. So this is just basically a fragment shader. Actually, it's a spatial shader apparently. But there's a lot of code here, and I could spend 15-20 minutes explaining it, but basically we have some color, we got some speed, we got some depth, we got some foam, waves, noise, and then we got some variables. Okay? If you're looking for any sort of shaders, your best bet is to please, for the love of God, specify Godot 4.3 because they changed how the z-axis work in depth in 4.3, so specifically with water, it is a pain in the ass, and I spent 2 hours trying to figure out why the hell, when I changed my edge color, it changed my entire freaking water to hot pink. So yeah, make sure you specify versions. So that's pretty much it for the shaders. So let's go into the actual world, and I'll show you what I'm talking about with patches. So I actually have 2 of my scenes here already instantiated. So I have a grass patch and a water patch. So I can hit Control D to duplicate this, and then I can move these around. We can duplicate it again. We'll move one over here. We'll make this one, and we'll duplicate it again. So now we have a big grass patch, and we can do the same thing with water. We'll duplicate it, move it, come over here, we'll duplicate it, we'll move it. Let's get it a little more lined up there. And then again, duplicate it and move it. So, yeah, that's kind of my plan for water and grass. I don't think I'm going to have many valleys or anything like that where I need to fill it with liquid. So, that'll be that. So, first off here, I guess I will show you the game with all of the developer stuff enabled. Just so you can kind of see the waves and stuff. And you'll be able to see the water effects a little better. So if we go into the game, you'll be able to see, so this is kind of the grass moving, and you'll be able to see some of the first person animations. And then, again, you'll be able to see the water effects there, kind of the foam around the edges. And depending on where your character is looking, you'll be able to see this really bright white. That is because of the foam. This is the best way that I could figure out how to fake like foam sloshing around a player. And you can see it there on that capsule of the foam. So if we fire, you can see we can kill our zombie. And if we shoot into the wall, nothing happens. If we go ahead and hit third person, you can see the model moving around. We can't shoot or anything, but you can see the kind of CSGO Quake style of controller where we can bunny hop, which looks really fun and cool in first person. So let's go ahead and hide our developer assets, and this is what the game would actually look like while you're playing it. So we'll go ahead and launch, and I'll make this full screen. So you can see our flashlight shining on the ground. You'll be able to see the actual, like, the stars and the world environment. And then if we come up to the grass, you'll be able to see the shadows on it all and everything moving. Same with the water. Now the white looks a little better because it's not super bright. And again, we can shoot our zombie. We can go F5. I guess I'll show the debug information. So this is what my little debug HUD is. And you can see the velocity changing. So my max velocity is 5, but if I'm jumping and moving because I have airspeed and I'm looking, my velocity can go up to 16. So yeah, hopefully you guys did enjoy this little video. I'm sure I'm going to make more because I'm actually liking where this game's going. And yeah, my name's been Mike, and I look forward to seeing you in the next devlog. Have a wonderful day.